Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the Loire in France, but we're going to speak more specifically about the red wines from the Loire. Now, the Loire Valley, of course, follows the Loire River that flows from the Atlantic into the interior of France, terminating in amongst its many branches, but in the wine region of Sancerre. So we have a long river with a long river valley that is surrounded by, because of the river, many different primo wine growing and making areas. But today we're going to talk more specifically about the red wines that come from there, because as we know from our previous class, this is such a fertile, amazing area for winemaking that we get everything from sparkling to white to rosé to sweet wines to reds. You can really truly make every style of wine here. So the king of grapes in the Loire is Cabernet Franc. Now, Cabernet Franc is a parent grape, actually, to Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Carmenere. And if you think about it, that really makes sense because the thing and the flavor profile that we associate with Cabernet Franc most strongly is the green bell pepper, sometimes jalapeno, or just green herbaceous notes that we get. And that is from the pyrazines. That is the compound that's within the grapes that gives off those flavors, and we often get those same flavors, particularly in Cabernet Sauvignon and definitely in Carmenere, which, in my opinion, sometimes smells like sticky pot. So you definitely get those green notes from that family of grapes. And also of note, pyrazines are also what makes Sauvignon Blanc, even though it's a white grape, smell often green and grassy. Cabernet Franc, as we know from previous classes, where else do we see it? That's right, it comes from Bordeaux as well, but in Bordeaux, we're going to use it more as a blending grape, whereas in the Loire, it will be vinified more frequently on its own. And these wines are known for being a very specific flavor profile. They have notes of graphite. They have very green notes, as I just mentioned, and the fruits are more in that like wild forest berry notes, like raspberry and brambly kind of like wild berry bushes, that kind of thing. The other red grapes that we're going to see are, of course, our nearby neighbors that grow them frequently would be Gamay. We see Pinot Noir. Those two can be made alone or blended with the Cabernet Franc or by themselves. Slightly lesser known and lesser used would be Pinot Donny. I'm going to put these up on the screen because I know they're a little hard to understand how they're spelled. Groslo, and our friend Malbec, but here it would be referred to as Côte, C-O-T. So if you ever see that on the back of a label, it's the same grape, it's Malbec. Now, there are some famous appellations, and I'm going to go to our map here to help us. Awesome, this is a really great map. I love this. Okay, here we go. Great map, color-coded because it's going to show us the predominance of the grape styles that are grown in any region. So, of course, these yellow areas that are moving into red and orange, they're showing like the blend of the sort of proportion of what's being made. Where we're talking about is more in this center area, where we see these deep dark reds. So that's where you're going to get the prevalence of the red grapes growing and the appellations that are known for it. So appellations to know when you're looking at a wine bottle from the Loire would be Chinon, Saumur and Saumur-Champigny, Bourgogne and Saint-Nicolas de Bourgogne. Okay, and also in Touraine, which is here, but you're going to see more of a blend here of Cab Franc, Gamay, and Pinot Noir, but you will see reds from here. And less well known is way over here in Sancerre. We do have 100% Pinot Noir being made there. Now, as I always say in all of these videos, you're going to see all the grapes and all the wines from all over these places. It's really about whether they are following the appellation rules that are allowing them to put more specific names on the labels. So if you see a wine that says Chinon and it's a red wine, it's going to be Cabernet Franc. But really, you can do whatever you want. Um, in terms of style, as I said, no matter what grape you're going to be using for winemaking here, we're going for, generally speaking, a fresher, more fruit forward style. Don't have a lot of new oak usage here in fermentation or in élevage, meaning the aging process before bottling. So we're not masking any of those fresh fruit flavors with oak notes. So there are exceptions. Of course, some people are experimenting with new oak usage, but it's usually more minimal. Um, so no matter what grape you're using, whether it does have some Malbec or whether it's Pinot Dogny or Grola or any of these other grapes, they are going to be in, like I said, that green kind of herbal style, a little bit more savory, a little bit more fresh fruit, but restrained kind of berry fruits. Um, Bright acidity. Some of the better quality ones absolutely can age. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention natural winemaking for the Loire Valley, because for a lot of people, um, I don't know, I suppose the resurgence or the movement as we now know it for natural wine, a lot of it was coming from this whole area here. And a lot of winemakers in the 1950s who became interested in biodynamics. You could say, pardon the pun, but it was fertile ground because there's so much winemaking and other agriculture that happens in this river valley. And so winemakers were influencing each other to move towards natural winemaking. So not adding um, manufactured yeasts, not fining, not filtering, experimenting with not using any sulfur or very minimal sulfur. So really letting the wines be themselves to see how little intervention was possible. Now that also, it goes through, of course, peaks and valleys. It gets another wave in the 1980s, and certainly now it's just a tsunami. You have a ton of winemakers who are also natural winemakers, and because of that, you also get a lot of experimentation. And so not only are there natural wines here, but you're going to see a lot of labels that just say VDF or Vin de France because they can't use a more specific appellation. So you're going to find a lot of fun projects, and they're not necessarily going to say the Loire. You just need to look a little bit closer on the label or Google the wine in order to learn a bit more about it. I think that's all I want to say about the Loire red wines for today. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments and I will answer them. I hope you enjoyed this little quick overview of red wines from the Loire Valley of France. Thanks.